Welcome back to the Big Trail Show. Listen, Orange to Otis Kirk, which means it's time to talk a little bit about recruiting. And, of course, as we get into the football season, recruiting dies down. Everyone's worried about their football seasons, but you're still trying to make phone calls, still trying to get kids here.
Yeah, and, you know, one thing that people may not understand, because of the early signing period now, they have a dead period in the summer some now that they used to not have, and that's why football recruiting has kind of been quiet lately. But yeah, they're still making calls. I mean, they're still talking to kids, obviously, and now some preseason awards are going out, you know. Well,
once commit, as you talk about a preseason award, Dallas Morning News, no surprise here, naming Chandler Morris their player to watch.
Yeah, he is the preseason offensive player of the year with the Dallas Morning News, you know, the sports day down there, and you know, he won the offensive player of the year last year, and this kid is. Chandler just comes in there and dominates, and I mean, he led them to a state championship his first year, and he was honored. And if he has a season, a senior season, anything like his junior season, he'll be the postseason winner again too. So
well, he's the head coach's son, but he lives up to the hype, no question about that.
He produced, I mean, 4,000 yards, you know, passing, 66 touchdowns, 46 passing, 20 rushing. So yeah, he lived up to it. James Mitchell and Bernard Wright. James Mitchell from Duncanville came to a prospect day earlier this spring, and then Bernard Wright is a defensive lineman from Dallas Carter. Both those kids hold Arkansas offers. They made the defensive team for that, not player of the year or anything, but just on the all-defense team. But that's a couple of defensive tackles to keep in mind, because technically Arkansas hasn't gotten a commitment in this class from a defensive tackle.
All right, a couple of recruits we want to talk about. One is Cottrell Wallace, who has narrowed down his schools. Arkansas, one of them.
Yeah, and that's no surprise that Arkansas is one of them. But, you know, he's a kid that came up to the cookout, and he's been here numerous other times. But Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Virginia, and Ole Miss are the other schools. And he's about 6'6", 215 pounds, led Bryant to the state championship in Arkansas's largest classification last year. They're going to be good again this year, and he can play linebacker, outside linebacker, or defensive end. So we've talked about him quite a bit, and we'll be continuing to talk about him. He's one of the best players in the state of Arkansas. Another
linebacker, defensive end guy is Fitori, Garner, a guy out of JUCO they're looking at as well.
Yeah, I talked to him on the way in here earlier, and he's they opened their season at 6 o'clock. Thursday night, real season, regular season. On the JUCO starts a week earlier, but they're starting even 2 days earlier than that. They host Coffeyville up at Council Bluffs, Iowa, on Thursday night at 6 o'clock. Arkansas, Houston, Mississippi State, Arkansas State. Some schools have offered him. He's out of Florida originally. He's 6'3", 235 pounds, outside linebacker, defensive end type, can play either. Said he rooted for Arkansas since junior high. And so he's an outstanding player, and I mean, you know, he kind of reminds me a little bit in JUCO of Gabe Richardson when he came out, in the sense that they looked at Gabe, if you remember, as an outside linebacker. Kind of like Cottrell Wallace, too. You know, we're talking about him. He was high school, but these kids can come up. Basically, what they're saying is Fitzroy can come off the edge, and you want that, be it defensive end.
Kind of like a Randy Ramsey, who started off as a linebacker and moved in. He's got that speed.
Yeah, Randy was a guy that moved back and forth even here, you know. And so, yeah, it's good to recruit versatile people who can come off the edge like that, and you can use them at end or outside linebacker. In a lot of the pass rush situations, you know, they can play either or. So it's good to recruit those type kids, because they're going to put pressure on the quarterback.
And lastly, Otis, I want to talk about the big recruiting weekends, because we've seen a lot of recruits come in, but Arkansas changing it up a little bit.
Yeah, this year what they're doing, you know, last year was big to get them during the season so they could see a game, but what that results in is the coaches don't have a lot of time to spend with the recruits as maybe, and you know, you're preparing for a game, you know, and you try to take them to a restaurant, you try to do this and that. So what they're going to do, they're not saying saying they won't have recruits in.
They've got 2 big weekends to focus on.
But Mississippi State and Auburn weekends are going to be the 2 big weekends that they bring in official visitors. Now, they'll have unofficial visitors at all the games, but the official visits, I'm not, you know, the Mississippi State and Auburn are going to be the 2 big weekends. Those, they play SEC teams. There should be good crowds here.
Otis Kirk with all the knowledge. We appreciate your time as always, Otis. We will see you next week. That's going to do it for your recruiting report. Much more Pig Trail after the break.